Amadhyanathamiranthasya Dhyananjana-shalakaya chakshurunmilitam ena tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Namah Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. English, right?
English, right? Yes.
So, I'm happy to see you all again in quite good numbers. And I also thank the organizers of this series of Prabhupada Katha for giving me also opportunity to share my kind of Prabhupada Katha with you. So thank you for all concerned, and especially for your presence. If you're not going to be present here, no Katha. So you're a very important aspect of this, what is happening here, the presentation. You are the key factor. And of course, यदि प्रभुपाद न होते तबे की होते. Srila Prabhupada ki. And he is a principal factor, Srila Prabhupada, who has brought us, all of us, together, not just today, but we are part of the family. We are a global family. And we could very easily say this is Prabhupada's family, right? Or he built the house. He built the house. How big is the house? The whole world could be part of that house. And so we are proud to be part of that house. So tomorrow we'll be celebrating 49th Disappearance Day Festival. Kind of sounds strange. It is disappearance and the festival. I will not explain, but how could disappearance be a festival? Anyway, again, I will not get into that, but that is what it is. And so naturally, as this is kind of eve of that tomorrow, the disappearance day. So, well, it doesn't have to be, but somehow, well, I was not able to participate in the presentation because I was kept busy by a bureau meeting I had to attend. But I was told that the theme of most of the speakers was Prabhupada's disappearance, or their thoughts, their memories in relationship with the disappearance. Yes, right? Am I? That's what I heard. And Maharaj is nodding, confirming. So, so many thoughts about Prabhupada. You know, we are made of Prabhupada. Or we are made up of mercy of Prabhupada. Or all of us, especially Prabhupada disciples, Prabhupada gave us birth. Initiation is a birth, right? Initiation. So Prabhupada gave me birth. And Srila Prabhupada gave me birth in Vrindavan in 1972. So beginning with that was 72 Karthik. I'll not say all that. I had come in contact with Srila Prabhupada, I had seen Prabhupada and heard Prabhupada in Mumbai, Bombay of those days. But at Radha Damodar Mandir, I met Prabhupada as my Prabhupada. I sat right in front of Prabhupada, and I was also carrying a letter of recommendation for my initiation from my temple president. So I was going to be initiated by Prabhupada. Anyway, so that time I was brought in, first time in physical proximity and contact with Prabhupada. So memories beginning with that day, that year, 72, and some before also then. All the way, year after year after year after year. Then it was 77, arrived. And we did not know that was going to be the last year of Prabhupada with us. And then what to speak of that Karthik of 77 would be the last Karthik of Srila Prabhupada with us. So I would say from 72 Karthik to 77 Karthik, we had so many interactions and darshans and talks and walks and talks, morning walks, and room anyway, on and on. So, especially as, well, it never stops. I'm trying to stop somewhere. I already said that sentence, especially being a Bombay brahmacharis. I was part of the Bombay brahmachari team, and Bombay being Prabhupada's office, and all the officers do spend more time in the office, right? So did Prabhupada spend more time in Bombay, more than any other town in India, and even all those days at least. After Prabhupada. Anyway, Hare Krishna. So 77 year was mostly the sick year. Prabhupada was mostly ill throughout that year. Beginning with Mayapur festival of 77. Devotees would come to Mayapur hoping to get Prabhupada's association, but it was kind of disappointing for devotees, especially traveling from overseas, because Prabhupada was not well enough to forget the morning walks. He was not even able to take part in the morning programs, and no Bhagavatam classes. This had never happened before. And this was first kind of experience for devotees attending Mayapur festival. So another thing happened because of illness. Srila Prabhupada used to attend Mayapur festival, Vrindavan festival. Mayapur festival at Gaur Purnima time, and all those devotees would travel to Vrindavan right after Mayapur festival, and so would Prabhupada, of course, come to Vrindavan to attend Vrindavan part of the festival. That year he could not come. Instead, Prabhupada traveled to Bombay. And he was trying to recover. I'll go faster. So there, Prabhupada was thinking where he could go, which place could he go for some health retreat where he could be in a more secluded place with no interaction with the devotees. No regular ISKCON business or discussion, management, transactions. So I remember in one discussion in Mumbai, in Prabhupada's quarter, even one governor of Gujarat was in the audience. And Prabhupada was just discussing and consulting, where could I go for a health retreat? And it was recommended, amongst many other choices, I would say, Prabhupada selected Rishikesh. And then Prabhupada and his entourage, they traveled to Rishikesh. And Prabhupada stayed right on the banks of Jamuna Maiya Ki. And he was, what did I say? And you did not correct me. Ganga Maiya Ki. Is there Jamuna in Rishikesh? No. So there was Tamal Krishna Maharaj there, and Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj there, Yaduvar Prabhu, I think, was there, and few others. I don't remember all of those. And Prabhupada was also drinking Ganga Jal as part of the cure. And of course, special diet, and sometimes he would personally cook. Bhakti Charu, you come out. I will take over. Bhakti Charu Maharaj used to share with us, and Prabhupada would personally go and cook the right preparations, or preparations of his choice, or as part of the diet. Anyway, he was getting better, and then he was not getting better, and he was even thinking, hey, please rush me back to Vrindavan. He was thinking maybe his time had come to return home. So he was rushed to Vrindavan. He had come via Delhi. He stopped at ISKCON Delhi, Radha Parthasarathi temple. Was in different location. This is 77 we are talking. And finally ended up here in Vrindavan, which is his home. Vrindavan is my home, or Vrindavan is my home. So he was kind of back home. He returned home. And then again his health was kind of improving. Then Prabhupada was planning, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, he was so very active. Resting is like a restless. You would get restless when there's some kind of so-called resting time. So again, he was planning, bring me to America, Gita Nagari farm. Why there? He said he wants to establish Varnashram. There's a big ISKCON has a big Gita Nagari farm, and also Radha Damodar temple there, and so again every time devotees were not in favor, not in favor, but the boss is always right? Prabhupada is a boss. And buck stops. So his will prevails. So and they would execute the will of Prabhupada. So Prabhupada wanted to go. So then again, Tamal Krishna Maharaj and others around him made a plan to travel to America. I was told I was not there. I think our I'm not recalling the name of one Mataji. Lakshmi what? Lakshmi, no, from England. No. One of the Parashuram's wife. Huh? Lakshmi. Anyway, so she was there and she said, or she witnessed, Prabhupada was still so weak and frail, so weak that he was made to lie down in the back seat. He was not able to even sit properly. He was not healthy or strong enough to go to the airport from Vrindavan to Delhi airport to catch the flight. On the way to America, Gita Nagari, he stopped at London. Maybe for health reason again. I don't want to speculate. They stopped and they stayed there for some time. And Srila Prabhupada was there for Janmashtami at Bhaktivedanta Manor. And also that became last Vyas Puja of Srila Prabhupada, 77 Janmashtami in London, Bhaktivedanta Manor, and the next day Vyas Puja was celebrated there. And again, his health was down, and we're not sure whether it's getting better or getting weaker. And Prabhupada again said, bring me back to Vrindavan. Let's go to Vrindavan. Every time we have made that observation that Prabhupada was thinking that he may be leaving the body and this world and leaving all of us behind. He would say, bring me to Vrindavan, fresh to me to Vrindavan. So, then Srila Prabhupada, so that Gita Nagari and all that America, all those plans were dropped, and Prabhupada flies back to, well, Vrindavan was a destination, but they decided to come to Vrindavan via Mumbai, Bombay. Another reason to go to Bombay was, it was about the time, around that time was time for opening up Radha Ras Bihari temple. So Prabhupada that was on his mind. So that's another reason why Prabhupada landed in Bombay, and in fact he did stay for quite well, maybe for a month or so. Mostly spending time in his quarters on the 5th floor in, Hare Krishna Land guest house. Prabhupada, that very special residential facility. And I think again, the most of the time he would be just lying in the bed. Where's my watch? So that time, well, Prabhupada would not allow, in fact he had recommended and he would insist that someone chants, sings for him. These two things Prabhupada insisted whenever he was not well, he was lying in a bed, or said there has to be singing or reading from his books. So we'll take turn to mostly sing, but sometimes also read from Prabhupada's books. And I think every day I used to have my turn also to sing for Prabhupada. We're allowed on a small kartal and would sit on the floor next to Prabhupada's bed and would chant for Prabhupada, sing for Prabhupada. Really. One day, I'll just say quickly, different things. We had been, going downtown Bombay and making life members those days. Making life members. This was a main preaching and fundraising through life membership. So we were busy. In fact, all the ISKCON devotees in Mumbai, they would mostly make life members and raise funds. And with that, of course, the book distribution also. Those who become life members, they get books in exchange. So that was also a book distribution program through life membership. So we'd be, doing that kind of preaching, return in the afternoon, late afternoon, and then sing for Prabhupada. So one day, I was singing, I stopped in the middle and I asked Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, there is anything that we haven't done as of yet which we should do so that you would be cured, you would be better? You know, I was expressing my sentiments like that. And Prabhupada said, used to say, crying babies, just chant Hare Krishna. What more could we do? Just chant Hare Krishna. So that kind of faith Prabhupada had in chanting Hare Krishna. And he considered that also as a cure. But another day, or it could be the same day also. Okay, it could be the same day. Prabhupada said just chant Hare Krishna. And then he paused and he added, saying, Ara na kariyamani asha. You know what that is meant. Ara na kariyamani asha. Anyway, he said that, how long does it take to say Ara na kariyamani asha? Maybe 4 or 5 seconds. It said that for 4 or 5 seconds, just one time. But, I remember this all the time. Prabhupada said, Arana Kariyamani Asha, made such a deep impression upon me. And a lot of my wanderings are governed by that statement. Arana Kariyamani Asha. Then, the temple was not quite ready for opening. Radha Ras Bihari, Hare Krishna land temple. And Prabhupada was not getting better. So Prabhupada said, bring me to Vrindavan. Then on the 1st of October, this is 77, Prabhupada left for Vrindavan. He did not fly or could not fly. Probably you saw one Prabhuji saying that during one of these, that he drove Prabhupada from Hare Krishna land to the train station, and he was literally lifted from the car onto the train couch. N.D. Desai was, he had that role to play, and or Haridas or Srinathji Prabhu, N.D. Desai. He had a very luxurious, comfortable car, and you're personally driving, and anyway, so many things. So then Prabhupada arrived in Vrindavan and into his quarters, where his quarters are, right behind Krishna Balaram temple. And that is where he was for the rest of the time. maybe, I think, would bring Prabhupada in a palanquin and take Prabhupada on parikrama of the temple, or bring inside also for darshan of the deities. So yeah, for that reason Prabhupada would come out of his quarters. I think maybe a few times. I don't remember that, because I was not there. So what happened was, when Prabhupada arrived in Vrindavan, then many devotees from Bombay also followed him. I for sure. I had my book distribution traveling party called Narad Muni Book Distribution Traveling Party of BBT. So with the party I arrived also. And then word had spread that Prabhupada, there are so many signals already, beginning with what devotees had experienced during Mayapur festival of 77. And then he had gone to Rishikesh and he had rushed to Vrindavan. And now he had gone to London and then returned to India and finally in Vrindavan. So devotees around the world were concerned, and Prabhupada also wanted his senior devotees, disciples, managers, come see him, visit him. So devotees were pouring in more and more into Vrindavan. This is October, November we are talking about. So once I could insert my story here also, or my involvement, I would say. So once I was in Vrindavan, Prabhupada wanted his doctor friend, Dr. Ghosh, from Allahabad, Prayagraj, to be brought to Vrindavan so that he would diagnose, do what doctors do. So Prabhupada gave me that assignment, say, you go. And he asked Tamal Krishna Maharaj, give him money. Tamal Krishna Maharaj gave me 1100 rupees. I was supposed to be flying to Prayagraj because emergencies. I could not have gone by Padayatra or other means of transportation. So I traveled to Prayag to find out that Dr. Ghosh was not in station. He had traveled to Darjeeling, on top of Himalayan mountain in Assam. That is where his granddaughter was studying. So he was visiting his granddaughter. So when I found out, then I realized I had to go find wherever he is, this doctor. So now as I was not helping me. So from Dr. Ghosh's home in Prayag to the airport again, on the way, I saw tall, some warm water or something. I saw a big statue of Hanuman. Jai Hanuman. And he was carrying a mountain, Himalayan mountain. And he was headed towards Lanka to provide a medicine for Lakshman, who was wounded and unconscious. So I started praying to Hanuman, say, "Oh, Hanuman, I'm also on the similar mission as yours. I'm not going to bring a medicine, but I'm going to bring a doctor for Prabhupada. Lakshman is Adi Guru and Prabhupada is my Guru. So I'm also, the doctor that I'm looking forward to meet is in Himalaya. You also had been Himalayan. You are carrying this Himalayan mountain or hill. So please let me be successful in my mission by your mercy." So I was praying like that, and by Hanuman's, I thought so, by Hanuman's grace, I became successful. I ended up in Darjeeling and identified and met with Dr. Ghosh, and he was surprised. "What? You have come all the way from Vrindavan here in Darjeeling?" But he was, as soon as I mentioned, "Prabhupada wants you," and he was ready to go. Then we both traveled to Delhi and then to Vrindavan, and I presented doctor to Srila Prabhupada. And so that was one service I was able to render. Then we were traveling, distributing Prabhupada's books for Prabhupada's pleasure. And traveling and distributing books, we had again climbed up the mountain with a vehicle, of course, Himalayan mountain. We had gone all the way to Badrikashram. This was the beginning of November. This is supposed to be the time for residents of Badrikashram to leave Badrikashram, right? Snow everywhere, So anyway, we were there. But there was no way to find out those days. You don't know those days. We are talking about 77, that's 49 years ago. The means of communication, phones did not work, and of course no internet. We did not even, no one even, anyway. So only way to find out how Srila Prabhupada is doing health-wise, what is the health status, was to come down to Vrindavan. So that is what we decided to do, and we traveled to Vrindavan, and kindly we were allowed to have darshan of Srila Prabhupada. And our party men were sitting on the floor in Prabhupada's quarter. And I was there representing the party and myself also, talking with Prabhupada, giving report to Prabhupada. Prabhupada lying down in the bed and lying down for months, 1.5 months at least, in that bed, in that quarter, Prabhupada's quarter. His voice was very low. It was so low, if you wanted to hear and understand what he has to say, you had to put your ear very close to his mouth. very close. So that is what I was doing and reporting. If you want to please me, what did Prabhupada say? If you want to please me, what you should do? Distribute my books. We hear this, right? If you want, Prabhupada said, and we hear about this. So I was experiencing, we were experiencing, as we were giving reports of Prabhupada's book distribution, he apparently seemed to be pleased with those reports. We could read that pleasure on Prabhupada's face. So during the reporting, I also said to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, while we were in Badrikashram, we showed your Bhagavad Gita to Srila Vyasadeva. I mean, I said that in a humorous way, And again, Prabhupada had a smile on his face. Now, for sure, we were in Badrikashram. For sure, we did go into the cave of Srila Vyasadeva. Well, we did not see him, Vyasadeva, but we were confident that he must have seen us. And of course, we were carrying Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita. So Srila Vyasadeva must have seen us and Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita. So we said, so that was not lying or no fabrication. And some other things also were reported to Prabhupada. And anyway, I'll just wind up that and say our party men, including myself, we were walking out of the Prabhupada's quarters, and I was the last one to leave. And before leaving, one more time I wanted to look at Prabhupada, take darshan of Prabhupada. And as I turned around and I was looking at Prabhupada, Prabhupada did this. Understood. Come back. I went back. And Prabhupada said to me, I want to see you. What time suits you? Isn't that amazing? Did you hear what Prabhupada said? I want to see you. What time suits you? You know, these kind of statements, they have been etched, on our minds. And they're made of permanent inscriptions on our heart and consciousness, and they could never ever be erased. There are, each one of us have those items. Then I said, no question of what time suits me, whatever time suits you. And then Prabhupada said, is 4 o'clock okay for you? Of course. And we wound up the conversation. And so during the day I was thinking and trying to understand. The way Prabhupada had said this, I want to see you, and was a lot of gravity involved. So I was trying to figure it out, but I could not figure it out. But then, at 4 o'clock, as I returned to Prabhupada's quarter or to the door, I was directed, no, Maharaj, come here. And I was directed to Krishna Balaram guest house reception. It was a differently designed that time, 49 years ago. So upon arrival there are lots of, maybe dozen or so senior men, including Prabhupada's assistants and secretaries and some other GBC men, or sannyasis sitting there. And I realized that what Prabhupada wanted to say to me at 4 o'clock, he already said it. He had already disclosed that. And what was it? He said he wanted Lokanath Swami to arrange a bullock cart so that he could travel to Govardhan to celebrate Govardhan Puja in Govardhan. Now, this conversation that I'm talking about, our party coming to Vrindavan, meeting Srila Prabhupada in his quarter, this is a week, about a week or 5-6 days maximum, I don't recall right now. Less than a week's time before Prabhupada's departure, before 14th of November. So this is around, 7th, 8th of November. And then, so of course that, I don't want to get into the details. So then I was asked by that team to go to Mathura, Vrindavan, wherever I had to go. And Trivikram Maharaj, Swami Maharaj, Pancha Dravida Swami, my godbrothers, 3 of us, we went into the town, Mathura, and looking for ox cart. Anyway, and as planned, ox cart had come and parked in right front of Krishna Balaram temple. It was very much possible to park a bullock cart. Those days, only carts would ply on that road. Cars, maybe 5-10 cars in a day, not more, would go back. So those were the days, and whole Raman Reti was different, very much different. Lots of monkeys, peacocks, and wow. So, but then there were lots of discussion back and forth, whole debate. Whole house was divided into 2. Prabhupada's house, meaning that all the devotees, assembled devotees, and finally it was concluded that Prabhupada would not travel by the bullock cart to Govardhan. So that idea was dropped. And then next day, although traveling with the bullock cart idea was dropped, but idea of traveling, Prabhupada could not give up. Because he had been saying, get me out of here. Preaching is fighting with Maya. And while fighting, I want to leave. While fighting, I want to leave. So next day, as again, Prabhupada's quarter was filled with Prabhupada's disciples, and I think you could imagine, those days we had only one species or entity called Prabhupada disciples. We had no one else. no grand disciple. We were only Prabhupada disciples. Everyone was just Prabhupada disciple, and that's all. So the whole room was filled with Prabhupada disciples. And Prabhupada again brought up the topic of traveling. But then he said, oh, I could travel with the buses. And there are lots of details were talked about. And then devotees had no objection to Prabhupada's traveling with the buses. In fact, whenever Prabhupada, well, a few times, whenever Prabhupada talked of doing this or doing that or traveling here or there, this was kind of welcomed by all of us or all his disciples. Why, you would say? We used to think that meant Prabhupada is going to stay with us longer. He's not leaving us behind. He'll stay longer with us. So we used to welcome this. And so this idea was being discussed, and Prabhupada talked about advanced party and then the main party, and anyway, as I had experience with the bullock cart traveling, because Prabhupada asked me to do the bullock cart traveling party preaching. I also had experience with the bus traveling, which he also had approved when I took sannyas. And then I wanted to travel with one Lokanath Swami Maharaj from Germany. He had come with buses, and he said, Maharaj, you travel with me. He wanted to travel. But Gopal Krishna Maharaj, I was a devotee from Bombay, and he said, no, you cannot leave Bombay. So both of them were debating, one in favor of me traveling, one in favor of staying behind in Bombay. Then here, in fact, this was 70, and this is not this is some sidetracking what I'm doing right now. 76 Vrindavan festival, Mayapur Vrindavan festival, 76. During that festival, again in Prabhupada's quarter, three of us, Gopal Krishna Maharaj, Lokanath Swami Maharaj, and Lokanath Swami, with three of us with Prabhupada, in front of Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was a judge, and two of them, these two Maharajas were advocate, and they were pushing their case, and then Prabhupada had, Gopal Krishna Maharaj had said, Prabhupada, Lokanath Swami is a key man in Bombay, how could he go? It's a final argument. But Prabhupada, he has taken sannyas, he wants to travel, let him travel. So that way I was released from. Anyway, so I had lots of experience with the bus traveling also. So when the idea of traveling with the buses came up, we were discussing, and advanced party and the main party, and Prabhupada had lots of ideas. And then finally, when it was kind of settled that bus party is going ahead, this program, then all those who were sitting there around Prabhupada and said, "Good Prabhupada," Giriraj Maharaj said. It's all recorded. You could hear or read this. Wherever we go, And I could make some life members, the rich people, businessmen. Could I go with you? Prabhupada, yes, you could go. Then Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj, the scientist, said, wherever you go, there are some scientific-minded people are there. I could arrange some scientific conference which you could possibly address. Could I go? Yes, you could go. There was a Bhakti Chaitanya Swami, Indian, from Punjab. Very Prabhupada, he was very close to Prabhupada. And he was a very good driver. He said, Prabhupada, I'm a good driver. Could I go drive your bus? Yes, you could go. Like that. Many were taking turns, and then I also said, I knew I had to go, but I still asked, or in a humorous, could I go? Then what Prabhupada said was, I should not say, but what could I say? Because Prabhupada said, he said, you will be our leader. So then it was, now this was now four days before Prabhupada's departure. Okay, it's around 10th of November. So we're making all plans of Prabhupada's travel, bus travel all over. So where to get the buses, and we had purchased a big map of India, and Tamal Krishna Maharaj, Bhavanand Maharaj, Bhakti Chaura Maharaj, myself, and a few others. I think Gopal Krishna Maharaj was not part of this team. And we were preparing and preparing and preparing. But then that final and unfortunate kind of dark day appeared. And then middle of the day, Kaviraj, the doctor of Prabhupada, Vedic, doctor, Vedic or what they call? Ayurvedic doctor. He was now going around all over the property, not big property that time. It was temple, premises, guest house, and a Gurukul building was there, which is now not there again. And he was going around letting us know that Prabhupada is leaving. So with that, we dropped everything, whatever we were doing, and we all rushing to Prabhupada's quarter. And of course, there were so many of us. All were not fitting into the quarter. And there were hundreds of Prabhupada disciples visiting from all over, were around the quarter. And so I happened to be, well, next to Prabhupada, where the bed, the bed. So where Prabhupada's murti now sits. So that corner I stood, and so all that we were doing that time, or possibly we could do that time, was chant. I would say cry. So we're crying out. Probably we had never ever cried like that in our lives. So that day we cried. From the heart. In fact, our souls were crying, not the throats. And the special feature, you may want to call it, of that singing was, we're all singing together. It was a chorus. There was no one leading, no one following. We're all singing and all leading, following, and so in the middle of that, Prabhupada was still there with us while some of us had entered Prabhupada's quarter. But then at some point, the Kaviraj also was there, and I did, I'm sure many others, everyone around there, noticed Prabhupada opening his, otherwise his mouth was kind of shut, and he was stand still, but at one point he opened his mouth, and we could not, of course, in the midst of all that chanting and crying out loud, we couldn't hear, but for sure he must have said Hare Krishna. And mouth closed, and that was 7:21, right? That's what they say, 21 p.m. 21 minutes after 7. Around this time? I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, not, yeah. So then we continued singing and crying and beating our chests or breaking our heads against the wall or rolling. Some of those symptoms were on display there to different degrees. Okay, so that was Srila Prabhupada Tirabha Tithi Mahotsava ki jai. Kathai Gaur Premanande. Krishna Balaram ki jai. Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Hari Hari Bol.
Premanande. So now we're offering our lamps. It's Damodarastakam prayers. Thank you, Maharaj, for your kindness to share us your loving memories of Srila Prabhupada, our dear father. Hare Krishna.